Imagine this. You walk into a room, a hiring manager smiles, shakes your hand, and says the exact phrase every single American interviewer uses. Tell me about yourself. Your heart races, your mind goes blank, and then you start reciting your resume from the very beginning. I was born in, I graduated from, and the interviewer's eyes glaze over. You lost them in the first 15 seconds.
Oh no, that's happened to me.
It happens to almost everyone. And the worst part, most people think they're answering correctly. They're just answering the question they think they heard, not the question the American is actually asking. Today, we're going to decode this, because this one question, tell me about yourself, is the most misunderstood, most answered wrong question in every single American job interview.
Okay, I'm ready. But first, hi everyone, welcome to Speak Like a Native. I'm Leo.
And I'm Maya. Let's get into it.
So, Maya, what's the real question behind tell me about yourself? Because I used to think the answer was my life story, my hometown, my university, my first job, my second job.
And that's exactly what 90% of non-native speakers do. Native speakers too, honestly. But here's the cultural truth. When an American asks, tell me about yourself in an interview, they are not asking for your biography. They're asking two hidden questions. First, why should I hire you in the next 60 seconds? And second, will you fit in with my team?
Will I fit in? That's part of the question.
It's a massive part. In American workplace culture, culture fit is almost as important as your skills. Americans want to know not just, can you do the job, but also, can I sit next to you for 8 hours and not feel awkward? So when you start with, I was born in, you're answering a question nobody asked.
Okay, so what should I say instead?
There is a formula, a very simple one that Americans use instinctively. We call it the present, past, future formula. Start with where you are now and what you do well. Then give one example from your past that proves it. Then connect to why you want this job in the future. Present, past, future, total time, under 60 seconds.
Under 60 seconds? That feels so short.
It feels short because you're used to telling a long story. But Americans value brevity in interviews. If you take longer than 90 seconds, the interviewer starts thinking, this person doesn't understand what I'm asking. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're applying for a marketing role. Don't say, I studied marketing in university, then I worked at company A for 2 years, doing social media, then company B for 1 year doing email campaigns, and now I want to apply what I learned.
That sounds like what everyone says.
Exactly. But instead, try this. I'm a marketing specialist who loves turning data into stories. At my last company, I grew social media engagement by 40% in 6 months, just by analyzing what our audience actually wanted to see. That's why I'm excited about this role, because your team values data-driven creativity, and that's exactly what I do best.
Wow, that's so different. You didn't say I was born in or I graduated from at all.
Never. Not one word about where you were born, not one word about your high school. The American interviewer doesn't care. They care about the 40% growth. They care about the phrase data-driven creativity. Those are the words that make them lean forward.
Okay, I need to practice this. Let me try. So I'm Leo and I'm applying for a marketing job. Let me say I'm a marketer who really likes connecting with audiences. In my last job, I increased social media followers by I think 30%, and that's why I want this job.
Close. You're in the right direction. But a few things. First, I really like connecting with audiences is a little vague. Americans in interviews want specific, confident language. Try I specialize in connecting with audiences through authentic storytelling. That sounds like a professional.
Specialize in. Okay.
Second, I think 30%, don't say I think. In an American interview, uncertainty sounds like you're not sure of your own achievement. Just say the number. I increased social media engagement by 30%.
Right. Don't say I think. Say it like it's a fact.
Exactly. And third, you're ending. That's why I want this job. It's okay, but it's generic. Instead, show you know something about the company. That's why I'm excited to bring my storytelling skills too. Because your brand values genuine connection. See the difference?
I see it. It's more specific. And it sounds like I actually did my research.
That is exactly what the American interviewer wants to hear. Research, interest, specificity. Now, here is something I want you to think about. This next part shocks most learners. In American interviews, you can and should be a little bit proud.
Proud?
In many cultures, humility is expected. If you talk about your achievements too directly, you might seem arrogant. But in the US, if you don't talk about your achievements, the interviewer will assume you don't have any.
Wait, really? So if I'm modest?
You look unqualified. This is one of the biggest cultural shocks for people from East Asia, parts of Europe, and the Middle East. An interviewer asks, "What's your greatest strengths?" And a learner from China says, "I work hard. I'm just average." They think it sounds humble. The American interviewer thinks, "Why should I hire someone who calls themselves average?"
Oh no, I can imagine that happening.
It happens every single day. So here's the rule. In an American interview, your job is not to show how humble you are. Your job is to make the interviewer's job easy. They need to decide if you can do the work. Help them decide. Give them clear, specific, confident examples.
Okay, so let me try again. With confidence this time. I'm a digital marketer who specializes in building community engagement through creative content. At my last role, I led a campaign that increased audience interaction by 45% in 3 months. I'm excited about this opportunity because your company clearly values authentic connection with your audience, and that's something I do really well.
Leo, that's it. That is exactly it. You gave a clear present statement. I specialize in. You gave a specific past achievement with a number, 45%, 3 months, and you connected to the future by showing you understand the company. That's a perfect 60-second answer.
I feel actually proud of that. Is that okay? To feel proud?
Yes, that's the feeling. You should feel proud of your work. And in an American interview, that pride shows professionalism, not arrogance. There's a difference between saying, "I'm the best marketer in the world," that's arrogant, and saying, "I achieved 45% growth in 3 months," that's fact.
Fact versus ego. I like that.
Now, here's something else most people don't know. American interviewers often ask behavioral questions. These are questions that start with, "Tell me about a time when," for example, "Tell me about a time you solved a difficult problem," or "Tell me about a time you worked with a difficult colleague."
I hate those questions. My mind goes completely blank.
Everyone's does, native speakers too. But there's a structure that helps. It's called STAR: situation, task, action, result. Describe the situation briefly, the task you had, the action you took, and the result. And the result must have a number or a specific outcome.
Give me an example.
Here's a bad answer. I had a problem with a client once. I talked to them and they were happy. That's too vague.
I've definitely said that before.
Now here's a good STAR answer. In my last role, we had a client who was unhappy with our delivery timeline. That was the situation. My task was to rebuild trust. So I set up weekly check-in calls and sent them a transparent project tracker. That was the action. Within a month, the client renewed their contract, and we actually increased the project scope by 20%. That was the result.
Okay, weekly check-in calls, transparent tracker, 20% increase. That's so specific I can picture it.
That's the goal. You want the interviewer to be able to picture you doing the work. When they can picture you, they can hire you.
So one more question, Maya. What about the very first thing I say when I walk into the room? Before any of this, the small talk.
Oh, that's a great question. American interviews almost always start with small talk. The hiring manager might say, "How was your commute?" Or "Did you find the office okay?" This is not a real question. It's a warm-up. Your job is to answer briefly and positively,
Even if my commute was terrible?
especially if your commute was terrible. Don't say traffic was awful, I'm so stressed. Say not bad, I found the office easily, your directions were really helpful. The American interviewer is testing your attitude. They want to see if you're someone who complains or someone who handles things gracefully.
So even small talk is a test.
Everything is a test. But that sounds scary. Let me reframe. Everything is an opportunity. Every moment you spend with the interviewer is a chance to show them who you are. So use the small talk to show you're positive. Use "tell me about yourself" to show you're focused. Use behavioral questions to show you can solve problems.
I want to practice one more time. A behavioral question. Ask me one.
Okay? Tell me about a time you had to learn something new quickly.
All right. Situation. I joined a new team and had to learn a software I'd never used before. Task. I needed to become proficient in 2 weeks for project deadline. Action. I watched tutorial videos every evening and asked a colleague to review my work after the first week. Result. I completed the project on time, and my manager said the quality exceeded expectations.
Perfect. You used STAR. You gave a clear result, and you didn't add unnecessary details. I'd hire you.
Haha, really? You'd hire me?
Based on that answer, yes. Because you gave me confidence, and that's what an American interviewer is really looking for. Confidence, not arrogance. Confidence that says, I can do this, and here's proof.
So today's big takeaway. When an American asks, tell me about yourself, they're not asking for my life story. They're asking for a quick, confident summary that shows why I'm the right person for this specific job.
Exactly. And remember, present, past, future. Start with what you do now. Give one past example with a number. Connect to why you want this job. Under 60 seconds. That's the formula.
I'm going to practice this tonight. I'll write my own 60-second answer.
And if you're listening, we invite you to do the same. Write your answer in the comments. Use the present, past, future formula. We'll read some and give feedback on next week's episode.
That's a great challenge. Okay, Maya, before we go, one last thing. What's the one sentence you want every listener to remember from this episode?
Here it is. Americans don't hire resumes, they hire people. So in every answer, let them see the person who can solve their problem, not the person who lists their history.
Not the resume, the person. I love that.
Thanks for joining us on Speak Like a Native. We'll see you in the next episode.
Keep practicing and keep sounding like a native. See you soon.